a Batman series.
I don't
Well,
know.
the
I mean,
monk. You know how Batman beat the monk?
no.
No.
He took a gun and shot him with a silver bullet because he was half vampire and half werewolf.
Huh. So
That's how
that
Batman was able
character,
to beat the monk.
so that character wasn't any relation to the student that was in the early season one of Batman,
And this is
the
before they
animated series.
went. But hold on, let me finish. This was before Campy Batman. Before they took away Batman's gun. This was before they made him. They gave him his fear of guns when he's basically saying, "I don't use guns because my parents were killed by guns." This was before that.
Hmm. Interesting. I mean, I'm, I'm still on the fence of this because, I mean, I like the idea that they would bring in new villains to make it interesting, but to say that they would never bring any of the old rogue gallery, that's an insult to the mythology. I mean, I wouldn't object to there being once in a while an old villain would show up and have it be maybe 60% new villains, 30%
Well, the
old.
old mythology, the old Batman mythology never really had any of the original Rogues Gallery. The Rogues Gallery came after the mythology was created.
Yeah, they had to start somewhere, but to having some
And
old villains to
the only villain that was actually put in the original mythology that was in Batman's original Rogues Gallery was Hugo Strange. Hello?
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah, we get that, or I get that. I'm just saying that by still saying that they would maybe on occasion include some of the old villains, so to bring in the old school fans, it would help that because I mean they had to start somewhere with the Batman universe by when they were retelling it from Nolan's perspective. They included an old villain from the prior lineup, like well, they started out with Ra's al Ghul, and then they went on to Two-Face and Bane. They slowly moved up to including villains that we hadn't seen before. That's basically what I'm saying is that on one week, have a new villain, then another week, someone that had already been introduced, mix it up. Saying that they'll never introduce or use any of the old lineup of villains, it's sort of saying like, hey, they don't have any respect for the old rogue gallery by saying, making it perfectly clear, never, you know, that's all I'm saying. I wouldn't be objecting to an occasional old villain and having it be mostly new villains.
I don't know. I mean, when it comes to Batman, I don't know nearly as much as you guys about it. So I'm just kind of like, I'm curious to know if this is going to get TVMA rating for it because that would be kind of badass if we got Batman series that's that dark. They could go really dark.
Yeah, I mean that would be pretty interesting because I
What?
mean,
I'll bring in a few minutes. You're saying?
yeah, I'm saying if they made it TVMA, that would be pretty interesting because in terms of rating for the Batman lineup, it's always been aimed at at kids. I mean, the only thing that even came remotely close to being pretty dark would be the Kevin Conroy Batman the animated series. I mean, once or twice they would have an dark episode, even in regards to Batman Beyond. And I think season one early on, like an old episode that they aired early, I forget what it was. It was centered on Terry McGinnis Dana and one of her friends, they were over at their friend's house studying, and some villain came across, kidnapped uh, Terry's friend or Dana's friend, I can't remember which, and they had to chase after him. And it's according to Tim, who was one of the producers of the show, he said that was the closest that they got to being very dark. I mean, and even then, that came off as being kind of tame, but with barely a hint of it being any darkness. Because I mean, if they went dark, I mean, like the stuff you see in High
Dark
School
Knight.
of the Dead. Well, not Dark Knight. I mean, some of it is some of it of Nolan's interpretation, like the, yeah, the Dark Knight, and how Heath Ledger did his Joker, and he went over the top, with I think the Inner Gang mob boss, where the scene where he thinks that his men have brought in the Joker, and then they claim they killed him, and then Joker pops up out of the bag, like surprising with the knife, saying, how about alive? And he goes on to this dark story of saying, how he got the scars, and that his father was abusive to his mother, and made did the scars on his face. And as he was telling this story to the guy, he was sort of giving an interpretation with a knife, by moving it closer and closer up his mouth. And the music in that tone, made it a little bit creepy, to where you think, is he actually going to do it? Is he going to cut his mouth open?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. They could always do a go back to the old 1960s Batman film, Batman, where you have they could do just like the cartoon, have Adam West come in and do a voice, dub it over again, make it 60, make it like that really campy era.
I don't know. I mean, uh, I don't think that would even work anymore. The campiness.
Or they remake the campiness, but just put Dark Knight villains in it. Just put Nolan's villains, the Nolan Batman villains, in the campy one. I would love to just kind of see how fucked up that Batman would get against someone like as psychotic as Joker in that movie, or as like Bane.
Oh yeah, I mean, Bane would own Adam West's Batman. He wouldn't last 5 minutes with Bane.
I'd still love to see him try to punch Bane, and you still see a pow, but no effect for Bane. It's like pow, pow, because he tries to punch him, it has no effect on Bane whatsoever.
All you would hear 2 seconds after the punch, it would be Bane cracking his neck, and maybe using a venom or something. He probably wouldn't even have to use venom serum to boost up in strength, to just give Adam West Batman one little knock to the chin, and game over.
Yeah, and then they had the 1943 Batman film. Which, have you ever seen that?
I've never seen it. Never.
I've only seen Master Fusion. He's done reviews of those films. It's like, wow, you were kind of surprised how far we've come in terms of Batman, and in terms of the racial tones that were in those films, which there were.
Mm.
But
But
anyways, I guess on to our fall lineup for TV.
oh yeah, the TV lineup for the fall programs. Let's see. Well, there's the Arrow, which it's a real new program that on the CW that seems to be really interesting. That it looks like it could even be dark. You got Oliver Queen, where he I guess his plane crash lands on an island, and he's thought to be dead, and he survives by taking up archery, and he goes back to I think was it Coast City, and he finds out that there's other people in control of his family business, and I think it was even assumed that his plane was sabotaged so that it would crash. And one of the lines by the lead who's playing Oliver Queen, I think he said something along the lines of, you'll wish I had died on the island. And that could be, and it shows him training and using archery in this, I think, abandoned warehouse. And Kate Cassidy plays Dina, but it's never really told if she's going to be the Black Canary later on. I mean, it's hinted at that she might, maybe in the middle of the season that she does become the Black Canary and dons the fishnets and has the high pitch sonic scream. That and let's see. Don't know anything about Vampire Diaries or Supernatural should be pretty interesting. Dean Winchester being stuck in purgatory with Angel Castiel, and no clue how long he's been stuck in purgatory, which is basically somewhere between the afterlife and hell, and it's where all the really bad supernatural creatures are stuck there when they're trying to basically be, I believe, sent off to. I don't know if it has to do with them being, stuck there before going off to hell, or if it's an intervention place. But no clue on when how exactly he gets out of there. But it said I'm looking forward to it not only because I've loved the past 7 years of the show, but 5, 6, 7. Well, 7 was so with the Leviathans, and thank God Sarah Gable is no longer involved with being the showrunner, and now it's got the guy who was doing the United States version of the Being Human TV series. That should be pretty interesting because he was a good writer and producer. Wait, correction. I don't know if he was actually a writer. I think he was a producer. I'm pretty sure he was a producer, but he did a good job back in the day, so that should be good. But the one I'm really looking forward to out of those two, 3 if you count Vampire Diaries, has to be Dexter. I mean, knowing what pisses me off, 710, he's a fan of Dexter, and this one is going to be a real slugfest there, because I mean, the way how they wrapped up season 6 was he's killed off the religious nut, the one who's basically wanting the Armageddon, the end of the world to come, the second coming of Christ, all that to have it, and he's delusional in that, and Dexter has him on the table, and seconds before he actually kills Travis Marshall, his sister, his adoptive, sister walks in, who's basically the lieutenant of the Miami Metro, walks in, sees him stab a suspect, and it's going to be a real. I mean, based on the trailer, I mean, she finds his blood slides and raises all these questions like, what have you been doing in the after hours? And she's torn between, does she protect him and keep his secret life of a vigilante serial killer from the public, or does she slap on some cuffs and take him in? Because she's torn between, here's her brother, who on the twist side, that's kind of disturbing, she's in love with him. That's got